Good morning, class. This course is to learn SAP ABAP Development for Beginner's Guide, and today we will talk about an overview on SAP ERP system. So let's start. So let's start with an introduction to SAP ERP. First of all, let me hide this toolbar. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So basically ERP are big and you can say large software which holds data and processes of large firms. Like you can say those firms who have terabytes of data and have more processes than a small firm or a small owner shop or medium firm. So they go for ERP system to manage all their daily routines, daily all their financial transactions and all the processes through ERP system. So in SAP there are around 28,000 plus tables in SAP which stores data for all kind of processes and all the departments of that firm or business. So who are the big ERP vendors? So SAP is on the top of the list of these vendors. SAP is the world's largest ERP system, and after that there come Oracle, maintained by PeopleSoft, and then you have other ERP system like Microsoft Dynamics and other ERPs are also available. So depending on your business needs, you can go for whatever ERP suits you as per your financials. So basically SAP ERP is an R3 enterprise and 3-layer enterprise system. Like you can see in this diagram, it has modules related to every department or function in any kind of business firm or corporate sector or any kind of multinational offices. Like you can say there are many modules you can see in this diagram. QM stands for quality management, PS project system, PM stands for plant maintenance module, and there is PP production planning, SD stands for sales and distribution, MM for materials management, HR human resource, AM asset management, and overall these are comes under financial accounting and controlling CO. So let's move forward. So SAP can use a number of database programs to actually store the data, and the database which they use in the backend is Oracle or DB2 or MS SQL. Mostly there is Oracle in the backend of SAP ERP systems. So whenever a company decided to buy a SAP system, they need to make configuration of that system, or you can say installation of that SAP system as per requirements of that company and what processes and what modules are they buying. So first of all you have to look for your number of employees, and as per number of employees then you decide to go which SAP ERP you are going to buy, like enterprise edition, business one or another one. So in configuration there are third-party companies which do configuration as per your business and making the changes in standard software to fit your business. Like they can rewriting the code, modification, customization, and whatever your requirements or need, they will install and configure SAP ERP at your company as per your needs. Let's take an example of typical manufacturing company. So yes, first of all they have CO controlling module, and after that they have FI for financials, and it is controlling all the manufacturing processes. The input is going to manufacturing processes, which is connected to material master, pricing, vendor master, basic data, customer master, and in the end it is going for output of reports and data. So all these databases are connected into this process and controlled by FI and CO. So as we discussed before, SAP ERP system is R3 architecture. So you have three layers of systems in this ERP enterprise system. Like in first layer you have users PC, and in second layer their application server where they log in into their SAP system and perform their daily transactions. And at the last layer there is database server which holds and save and store all the records and database of system of that company. So the main layer is database server which have all the transactional data, master data, all the records of the company. And in the front layer we have application server, and at the third layer, presentation layer, we have users PC, which is used to interact with SAP GUI. For training purpose, basically they use two-tier client server architecture. In one layer we have database and application server, and in other layer they are users PC, which connect to those second layer to perform SAP operations. So what is a client in SAP R3? Client is a way to separate data in the system, in some way a separate database or also table entry. So we have different clients on one SAP ERP system. Like you can see in this screen, they have mandatory column which has 201 and 202. 201 is a different client and 202 is a different client. So whenever you perform any kind of transaction or perform any kind of activity on SAP systems, so in the backend database, so they store that entry through that your client number, which is a unique number. So when you log into your system, you have your user ID, password, and client number. So basically, that client number is used to navigate you throughout the system and to link your data with your client number. So one system can have as many clients as they want. Let's see logging on SAP GUI. So to log on to an R3 system with the SAP GUI, we need to install a SAP graphical user interface software loaded on your system and an internet connection. With your PC with SAP GUI, you can log into SAP and system which is hosted on another layer of database and application layer. So this is how SAP GUI looks. First of all, you need a configuration of your system which you want to log in. If you don't have any, you can click on new item button. This screen will show. You have to enter description of your system and application server. You have to enter IP address and then system ID, which is a logical name of the system, and then you have system number and system type R3, and you have to save this. And here you can see your one of property is saved. Now you can connect and configure that SAP ERP system with the name SAP Server 5. When you double click on that screen, you will come to the screen. You will enter your client number, you will enter your username and password. Don't worry about language, and then just press enter. On the first time logging into a new account, you will have to a pop-up will come to your screen to ask you to change the password. So just change the password on first login attempt. And this is your home screen, which also called SAP Easy Access. And in this screen we have all the menus and shortcuts, so which we want to work. So this was an overview of SAP ERP system, and we have discussed how to create a SAP server properties in a SAP GUI and then log into that system. We have also discussed what is SAP. SAP stands for System Application and Program, and ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. And as we discussed before, SAP is the world's largest ERP system leading the ERP industry. And second number here come the Oracle ERP managed by PeopleSoft, and then we have Microsoft Dynamics and other small level ERP systems. So basically SAP ERP are three layer architecture, R3 system. Database layer is different, application layer is different, and presentation layer, which is user system, is different. So this was an overview. Thank you very much. In today's class, we will have an SAP ABAP complete and detailed overview. So let's get started. ABAP stands for Advanced Business Application Programming. It is a fourth generation language, and currently it is positioned along with Java as the main language for SAP application server programming. So let's start with the high level architecture of SAP system. The SAP system consists of three-tier architecture. We will have diagram. Let me hide this toolbar. So as you can see in this diagram, it is a representation of SAP ERP server architecture, which has three tiers. So in first layer we have presentation. In presentation layer you have customers or clients PC, which has SAP GUI installed. And second tier, which is known as application layer, it has SAP ABAP server. And last layer, which is called database, it has stored RDBMS, relational database management systems. So application layer interacts with database layer to send and receive data in SAP ERP RDBMS systems, and application layer also provide presentation at the end user systems, which is controlled by SAP GUI. Just for your information, we have couple of SAP GUIs available. You can install it as a Windows application with the help of JVM, Java Virtual Machine. You can also install it in the Linux based system, or there is also option of available of SAP GUI as a web based graphical user interface, so it can be accessible across all the devices, whether you have Android phone, iPhone, or smartphone, tablets, or you are using any other operating system like Linux, Unix, or iOS. So basically it is not dependent on any kind of operating system or hardware or machine. So that's why JVM, Java Virtual Machine, is the layer between SAP GUI. So it interacts with application layer of ABAP, and ABAP interacts with database for all kind of data within the system of your SAP ERP system. So as you can see, our SAP ERP is the three-tier client-server architecture. So every layer has its own purpose and benefits, and database layer consists of all, and it records all the transactions and data which are being performed in SAP ERP. And application layer, the main concept of application layer is to interact with end user system with SAP GUI, and all the transaction or action performed by that user are going to RDBMS with the help of application layer. So let's scroll further. As you can see here, The presentation layer consists of any input device that can be used to control SAP system. This could be a web browser, as I told earlier, a mobile device, and so on. All the central processing takes place in application server. The application server is not just an one system in itself, but it can be multiple instances of the processing system. To explain this, like you can have multiple applications server. The kinds of application servers can be production server, which is live for all the users within the company, or whatever organization you have. Then you can have QA server, which is the QA application server, which is used for testing purpose. And then you have application development application server, which is used for SAP ABAP development for new kind of customized requirements and applications and portals and reports, whatever you want to create in your SAP ERP. So as you can see here, the server communicates with the database layer that is usually kept on a separate server. As we have seen in the above diagram, like the database layer was separate. The mainly reason for this are performance and also for security, and communication happened between each layer of the system from the presentation layer to database and then back up the chain. Here we have one note. ABAP programs run at the application server layer. Technical distribution of software is independent of its physical location. It means basically all three levels can be installed on top of each other on one computer, or each level can be installed on different computer or a server. Okay, let's see further. So that was an overview of SAP ERP architecture and whatever the backend architecture of SAP ERP. Just for your information, SAP is an abbreviation of Systems Application and Program. Now let's have an overview of ABAP programs. So basically ABAP is the development languages used by software developers or ABAP certified consultants used to develop custom applications, programs, reports, portals, or any kind of projects or workflows which are being discussed in their company and organization. So ABAP is basically used to achieve all those functionalities which are not being provided by standard SAP system. So let's look further. A BAP program resides inside the SAP database. Whatever program you create, it is stored in the database of SAP ERP. They execute under the control of the runtime system, that is a part of the SAP kernel. The runtime system processes all above statements, controlling the flow logic and responding to the user events. So unlike C++ and Java and other traditional programming language, ABAP programs are not stored in separate external files inside a database. ABAP code exists in two forms. So in source code that can be viewed and edited with the ABAP workbench tools, and generated code, which is a binary representation. If you are familiar with Java, this generated code is somewhat comparable with Java bytecode. So whenever, if you remember, if you have done some kind of programming in Java language, so whenever you compile the Java source code, so it transforms that source code file into Java bytecode file, so it can be readable for system as a JVM, Java virtual machine. So same thing is happening in SAP ABAP. The runtime system can be considered as a virtual machine, just similar to a Java virtual machine. A key component of the ABAP runtime system is the database interface that turns database independent statements (OpenSQL) into statements understood by the underlying database native SQL. SAP can work with a wide variety of database, and the same ABAP program can run on all of those. So this was an overview of SAP ERP and SAP ABAP as a development and programming language for customization in your SAP ERP systems. In the next lecture, we will discuss about ABAP environment. Thank you very much. Class. Welcome and good morning. In this video, we will learn about SAP ABAP environment and get familiar with some of the programming and development environment of SAP ABAP. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. So, as you can see, reports are a good starting point for familiarizing yourself with general ABAP principles and tools. ABAP reports are used in many areas. In this video, we will see how easy it is to write a simple ABAP report. So let me give you some overview of ABAP reports. The most of the development, or you can see programming and customization requirements in SAP is mainly our reports, because there are almost 16,000 plus database tables in SAP ABAP and in its RDBMS. So there are lots of you can say tables, and there are lots of foreign keys and primary keys and relationship between the database tables, and all kinds of data is already available there. So mainly most of the custom requirements are of reports, that user want to fetch reports from multiple screens and want to see it in first screen as a single report. So on the basis of that report, he can do his calculations, or he can whatever compare the data of previous year with current year or next year. So the my point of view is just this, that ABAP reports are mostly and widely used in SAP ABAP development. So if you have good hands-on or grip and you know how to create a report in SAP ABAP, then you will have a good to go, and then you will have a good starting point and a good base to start with the development SAP. So let's create a common example of hello world, which we mostly take in any other language like C, C++, and Java or C sharp. So let's get started with the common hello world example. Oops, let me hide this toolbar again for you. So each ABAP statement starts with an ABAP keywords and ends with a period. Keywords must be separated by at least one space. It doesn't matter whether or not you use one or several lines for an ABAP statements. You need to enter your code using the ABAP editor, that is a part of ABAP tools delivered with the SAP NetWeaver application server, which is known as ABAP. As ABAP is an application server with its own database, ABAP runtime, and ABAP development tools such as ABAP editor. The as ABAP offers a development platform that is independent of hardware, operating system, and database. Now focus on this word as ABAP. So whenever you purchase the SAP ABAP ERP for your company organization, then you have some consultants or third party that come to your company and install a complete SAP ERP package into your system as per your requirements. So they have two options. They can install it as Java, as ABAP, or as both. So with the help of as Java, you can do programming in Java language, and as ABAP, if it is installed in your company or organization as ABAP, so then you have to done all the customization and SAP development in ABAP language, which is stands for Advanced Business Application Programming. So let's get familiar with ABAP editor. So these are the steps which now we will perform one by one live on our SAP ERP GUI. So I have already logged in into my SAP GUI. So let's start it by step. In step 1, you have to start the transaction SE38 to navigate to the ABAP editor. Okay, so let's start creating a report that is one of the many ABAP objects. So let's perform this step 1 into our SAP ABAP. So here is a transaction menu. As mentioned in step 1, we will write here SE38 and press enter. So this is ABAP editor initial screen. So now we will create the hello world program. So let's name it at Z hello1. Okay, in step 2 you can see on the initial screen of the editor, specify the name of your report in the input field program. You must specify name as that hello one. It is just an example, you can name it any name you want for your ease. Here one thing is important, whatever customization or custom development we do in SAP, it is start with Z. Whether we are creating program, whether we are creating database tables or any other things, it must start with S. So let's copy this and Z hello one. We have write in the program field and let's press on create button. It will ask for title. Hello world program for learning purpose. In other fields, we will there are multiple option in type. We will select the executable program. You can leave it blank, both of them blank, and just press on save. Now here it will ask about package. So whatever customization or development we do in SAP, it all goes and stored and saved into one package. So in the upcoming lecture we will also learn about how to create package and what are packages and what are their relationship. Here just we will use an already created package which is available in this current SAP my ABAP system. So I have one of package already created as a name of ZSJ, and I will press save button. So this is the transport request prompt. Basically whatever program, report, table or any kind of thing you create with the help of ABAP in SAP, it goes under a transport request. So we will also learn about what is transport request, how to create new transport request, and how to transport that request from development server to QA server or production server. For now, I have already created one test request. I will just select it so it cannot be transported into our live production system, which is very crucial. So I will go down here and select the test request and press use button. So this is ABAP editor IDE and it has created our report with the name of Z hello one. So let's see what are the next steps to perform. As you can see in this line, whatever the customization which are known as customer name space includes all the object with the prefix Y or Z. As we have used Z here, we can also use Y. So it is always used when customer partner create objects like a report to differentiate these objects from standard objects of SAP and to prevent name conflict with objects. SAP have their standard names, so just to avoid conflict with customization and standard things, we use Y or Z prefix. In step 3, you can type the report name in lowercase letter, but the editor will change it into uppercase, so the name of ABAP objects are not case sensitive. As you can see here, Z hello one is in uppercase. So after specifying name of the report, we clicked on create button. A pop-up program window, ABAP program attribute pop up, and it we have already given it the firmware information. We have choose it as executable program, and in a title we have given our own title. Okay, now you can see our report is created so far for this, and to print hello world, which is always the first print line in any kind of language, whether it's C, C++, C Sharp, Java, PHP, ASP.NET. So we will use the same hello world line in our first ABAP report. So the statement which we have to write is called write. We will write here write, and in single quotes we will write here hello world and press the period button. So now let's save this report. and we have to run this report, we have to just activate it. To activation, here is a button of activation and also a shortcut key of control plus F3. What activate do, it's like compiler, it checks your program for errors, and if it's error free and there are no runtime errors, so it will just activate it in the memory. And now we have to press F8 button to execute this program. So here you can see this is the output of our first hello world report, you can see here, and this is the description which we gave to our program Z hello 1, which was hello world program for learning purpose. So here students, we have learned today how to create a report in SAP ABAP and how to print a simple hello world line in that program. So thank you for your patience and good luck for the next lecture. So class, in the previous video we have learned how to create a report in SAP ABAP and to print hello world. So there are some points which we performed earlier, like we use Control plus S or save icon to save our code in the report in the ABAP development task as ABAP, and after that we click on the activation button, which shortcut keys were Control plus F3, and then we use F8 function key, and for, as we can see again, this was the output of our program. This was the description of our Z hello 1 program, and this is the line which we print in our report. So these were all the steps which we performed in last video. So there are some points which needs to be noted. As long as you do not activate a new report or activate or change to an existing report, it is not relevant to their user. It will not be available to other users to use it unless or until it is activated. This is very important to activate your program and report so it can be usable along the application server. So let's see another thing, viewing the existing code. So when you have created your program and in the future you just want to view it, or you want to do some modification, or there is some update requirements, for what you have to do for that. If you look at the field program and double click on the values at hello 1, the ABAP editor will display the code for your report. This is called forward navigation. Double clicking on object name opens that object in an appropriate tool. So now let's perform this example live in our SAP GUI. So let me close this. Again we will move to transaction FC38 and enter. Now this is that hello 1, double click on this. Either you can double click, and here is a display button, just click on it, and here it is your previously created reports at hello 1 in non-editable mode. Currently it is disabled for any kind of editing, you cannot write anything to it. So this is the way through which we can view our existing code and perform changes in it. So let's try to print another line and see what it brings. So when we view our existing code and we want to do some modification or changes in that report, here is a pencil button with shortcut key is Control plus F1. We will just press it, and now it will come into editable mode. We can do any kind of changes in our this program. So let's try to write another line. I am doing changes and press period and activate it. Object is activated, there are no errors found. And now let's press F8 or direct processing button. So here you can say it has printed the new line which I just added in the code alongside hello world. So hello world exclamation, I am doing changes exclamation. So this is how you can edit already existing source codes and view them and do changes in them. So here our this was the overview of our SAP ABAP editor, and thank you for watching this video. Hello class, in this video we will learn about ABAP screen navigation. So let's get started. In order to understand SAP ABAP, you need to have basic knowledge of screens like login, ABAP editor, logout, and so on. This video focuses on screen navigation and the standard toolbar functionality. So first of all, we will have login screen here. After you log in to your server, SAP login screen will prompt for user ID and password. So whenever you log into your SAP login screen for the first time into your SAP server, it will prompt for user ID or password. Following is the login screen, so just try login into SAP server in real-time environment. So this is how SAP GUI login screen looks. It has client, user, password and login language. Client is set by default by the SAP system administrator. For now we have to give user and password. So let's try enter. This is our user. This is password. Now we have to press enter. On enter press, this screen will come which have three options. Continue with this login and any other logins on system. This is not recommended. Last option is terminate this login, so you just don't want to log in and just log out right here. Second option, which is we are going to use, we will continue with this login and without ending any other logins on the system. So press enter on this option. So now we are on our home screen of SAP GUI and our SAP server. So let's see what next we have. We have successfully performed this step. Now let's get familiar with toolbar icons. This field right here is called command field. In command field, we usually enter T code known as transaction code like SE38 in our previous video we have done so far. Top this bar is called menu bar. It has menu. Let me show you, like help menu, system menu, extras, favorites, edit menu and current menu. And then we have standard toolbars. This one is called a standard toolbar. It has options like find in page, print, and this first page, previous page, next page, last page. Also it has option to create new session. It will open another screen. Simultaneously we can open 6 screens at a time and to generate a shortcut. This one with titles here, easy access called title bar, and after right down after title bar we have application toolbar. So let's see further. Menu bar is the top line of dialog window, like this one. This is menu bar. Standard toolbar has most standard functions such as top of page, end of page, page up, page down, save, and are available in this toolbar like this one. Then we have title bar. This is showing SAP easy access. We have application toolbar. This one right here is application toolbar. And we have command field. We can start an application without navigation through the menu. Transaction and some logical codes are assigned to business processes. Transaction codes are entered in the command field to directly start the application. For example, let's try SE38 and directly we will go to ABAP editor. Okay, let's come back. As we have just started the transaction with the ABAP editor SE38 to navigate to the ABAP editor, we have just performed this action. Now let's move forward. So as you can see here, we have two menus. We can add to favorite any kind of transaction or shortcode. Like we can try adding insert transaction SE38. As you can see, ABAP editor transaction is now added in our favorite menu. If you double click it, it will navigate over to ABAP editor initial screen without entering SE38 in the command field and pressing enter. It's like a shortcut menu. You can also remove it and delete it and change it in the favorites. After that, we have SAP menu. It has all the standard functionalities and procedures and processes and workflows given by SAP all available in this system. Like we have logistic modules. It has all the functions of material management, SD, sales and distribution, production processes, plant maintenance, customer service, quality management, logistic controlling, project system, agency business center function. We have cross application components menu. This is office menu. This is our accounts people. We have human resources menu, information system, and in tool we have ABAP workbench. Let's see, in development you can find me the ABAP editor is right here, which we just use as SE38 and press enter. So it will navigate us to ABAP editor. So these are menus available. So standard keys and icons, let's talk about them. We have exit key like SE38, enter. Here we have exit key. As you can see, exit keys are used to exit the program module to log off. They are also used to go back to the last access screen. Let's try. See, we come back to our original screen. Let's close this menu. We have back, exit and cancel buttons in our standard toolbar. Then we have check, activate and processing button available here. Let's navigate to our previously created report Z-Hello1. So we have option here, activate this program. We can also check for errors. Suppose if we just remove this period and then check for error, it will give us error. The last statement is not complete, period missing. If we double click on it, it will navigate. Like you can see this red arrow is showing us that there is error in this line of code, and we can't also activate it. It will show display errors, cancel or activate anyways. So period is missing, we will add period, and now check for errors. It is perfectly fine, syntactically correct. We can activate it. Now it can be processed. Hello world, I am doing changes. Great. So these were 3 buttons which I just showed you what are the purpose of the. So when you are done with SAP GUI, you have done whatever work you had on your SAP server. It's always a good practice to exit from your ABAP editor and log off from the same system after finishing your work. So under system menu, we have log off. It will ask a prompt, do you want to log off, yes or no? We will yes it. So here was our today's lecture. ABAP overview of screen. So we have done so far ABAP screen navigation in this video. Thank you for watching. Hello class, good morning and welcome. In today's video, we will learn about ABAP basic syntax. So without wasting any time, let's get started. The statements. ABAP source program consists of commands and ABAP statements. Every statement in ABAP begins with a keyword, as we discussed earlier, and ends with a period. And ABAP is not case sensitive, which means you can write your source code in short case, uppercase, whatever you like, camel case, which is usually the practice in other programming languages. The first non-command line in a program begins with the word report. The report will always be the first line of any executable program created. The statement is then followed by the program name, which was created previously. This line is then terminated with a full stop. For example, this is a system. The syntax is this: report, here the name of your report, and full stop. Let's see it's in real-time environment. So this is the keyword report and then the name of our report, Z hello1. Let's check it, the syntax. So our report and program Z hello1 is syntactically correct. No issues so far. This allows the statement to take up as many lines in the editor as it needs. For example, the report may look like this. You can see here. Statement consists of a command and any variables and option ending with a period. As long as the period appears at the end of the statement, no problem will arise. It means you can use as much as you want multiple lines to write one line of code, like a statement and keyword, statement, and then period, and you can give as many spaces between them as you want. Let's try. Let's give spaces, and let's see. So this program is still syntactically correct. Let's undo it. This was just for let you guys know that it is allowed in ABAP and it won't give any error for extra white spaces, or you may use multiple lines like this. Still syntactically correct. Now let's try this code. On the line below the report statement, just type this statement, right? This is ABAP tutorial. So let's try this. Right, this is ABAP tutorial and period. Now let's activate this line of code. Let's process and execute. So as you can see, this is ABAP tutorial. Let's go back. 4 things you have to consider while writing a statement. The write statement writes whatever is encoded to the output window. The ABAP editor converts all text to uppercase except text string, which are surrounded by single quotation marks. Unlike some other older programming language, ABAP doesn't care where a statement begins on a line. You may take advantage of this and improve the readability of your program by using indentation to indicate block, of course. ABAP has no restriction on the layout of a statement, that is, multiple statements can be placed on a single line or a single statement may stretch across multiple lines. So these were 4 points about write statement. Now let's talk about colon notation. Consecutive statements can be chained together if the beginning of each statement is identical. For example, this is done with the colon, okay, operator and commas. We are used to terminate the individual statement much as provide and normal statements. For example, we have 3 write statements: hello world, hello ABAP world. Right now they are written in different write statements. Let's process them. So you can see hello ABAP world. So what we are trying to do here, we are trying to use a single statement, single keyword of write. For this we have to use colon and give comma separated between them, hello ABAP, comma world and period. Now let's see what will be the output. F8. Hello ABAP world. Same output with just we have used single keyword write statement here. You can see in this example. Like any other ABAP statement, the layout doesn't matter. We have discussed this many times now. This is an equally correct statement. You can write it like this way, you can write it like this way in multiple lines. Output in your report will always be the same. That's a point which you have to understand. So comments, let's see. As you can see, in every programming language there are comments written against line of piece of source code to understand the logics and whatever you want to write in your programming code, so that other programmer or reviewer can understand your piece of code. So inline comments may be declared anywhere in a program by one of the two methods. Full line comments are identical by placing an asterisk in the first position of the line, in which case the entire line is considered by the system to be a comment. Comments don't need to be terminated by a period because they may not extend across more than one line. Let's try commenting one of our line like this. This is a comment and asterisk. So you can see it is disabled and it won't affect our program and won't give any kind of error. We can execute it the same way. Okay, so here's one note for you guys. Commented code is not capitalized by the ABAP editor. Let's move forward. Suppressing blanks. So let's try this suppressing blanks. The non-zero command follows the data statement. It suppresses all leading zeros of a number field containing blanks. The output is usually easier for the users to read. Let's try creating the data w underscore nur with type n. Just comment it. Data type n of length 10, numeric type. Okay, now let's move 50 to w underscore nur. Move 50 to w underscore nur. Okay, then we have write w underscore nur, which is our variable of length 10, type numeric. We have assigned 50 to it. Now let's see with no zero what will be the output. We have to write w underscore nur and no zero, and let's activate it. Great, we have got no error. Now just direct process it. So this is the output 50. As you can see, the length of our this variable w underscore nur was 10, and you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Sorry, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So it has automatically skipped all the zeros, 8 zeros before 50, and remove them and replaces them with white spaces, so it will be easy to use and easy to read for the user. So let's see and try what will happen if we haven't used this command no zero. Let's remove it and not run it. So as you can see, it has appended 80 before 50 because it was a numeric data type. So that's why it was a very useful command to remove unwanted zeros before your actual integer number. As you can see here, without no zero command, the output is like this. I have already shown you with the real-time SAP ABAP environment. Blank line. The skip command helps in inserting blank lines on the page. Let's try this example. Just copy paste it to save our time. Let's comment it. Let's try this. This is the first line, and in another statement we have wrote this is the second line, and we have used skip command. Let's see. I guess it will skip one line, and the next write statement will come after that. Here you can see. We can also give number to skip, like you can skip 5, and it will skip 5. Insert 5 empty lines before your next statement. You can also count them here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6th line you have the right statement of this is the second line. Right. This was the output of our first code, and we have used skip with number of line was fast 5, and it has just skipped 5 lines. Okay. This command, what is the purpose of skip command? This command is used to dynamically move the cursor up and down the page. Usually a write statement occurs after this command to put output on that desired line. Basically it will be used for formatting, like you are creating output some kind of Excel or Word report, and you have to skip lines and skip columns, so it will be very helpful for you guys. Inserting lines. The uline command automatically inserts a horizontal line across the output. It is also possible to control the position and length of the line. This syntax is pretty simple. Let's try this. Skip this one. Let's try it here and put down all the previously done exercises. Now output will be this string and following to underline. You can see this is our string followed by an underline throughout the page. See, it's a cool feature. You can create the report with through this line. You can create tables and columns and rows and whatever you want as per the formatting of your report, as per your requirements. Messages. So this messages class is very important in SAP ABAP. The message command displays messages defined by message ID specified in the report statement at the beginning of the program. The message ID is a 2-character code that defines which set of 1000 messages the program will access when the message command is used. Messages are numbered from 000 to 999. Associated with each number is a message text up to a maximum of 80 characters. When message number is called, the corresponding text is displayed. Let's see messages type. If you use type E in messages, it will display an error message. The message appears and the application will halt at its current point and it will not execute further. Okay, and if the program is running in background mode, the job is cancelled and the message is recorded in the job log. W for warning. The message appears and the user must press enter for the application to continue. Background mode, the message recorded in the job log. I for information. Pop-up window open with the message text and the user must press enter to continue. In background mode, the message is recorded in the job log. A for event. The message class cancel the transaction and that the user is currently using. Okay, let's move forward. As for success, this provide informational message at the bottom of the screen. The information display is positive in nature and is just meant for the user feedback. The message doesn't impact the program in any way. Abort. The message aborts the program and generates an ABAP shutdown. So, error messages are normally used to stop user from doing things that they are not supposed to do. Warning message are generally used to remind the user of the consequences of their action. Information message give the user very useful information. Now let's try this example. So let's try an example of message. Let's display an information message of type I. Here we just typed keyword message, a string of message, text message. We will give type I and let's execute it. So here is the message. I for information message, and this is the text of our message. The max length of message can be 80 characters plus yes. This is a previously output window which I worked in previous example of underline. So this was today's lecture. I hope you liked it and learned a lot from it. Looking forward for your feedback. Thank you. Hello class. In this video we will learn about ABAP data types. So let's get started and rock and roll. Let's see what we have got here. While programming in ABAP, we need to use a variety of variables to store various information. This is absolutely right and correct. Variables are nothing but reserved memory location to store values. This means that once you create a variable, usually reserves some space in memory. You may like to store information of various data types, a character, integer, floating point, etc. etc. Based on the data type of a variable, the OS allocates memory and decides what can be stored in the reserved memory. So let's see what type of data types we have. Elementary data types. ABAP offers the programmer a rich assortment of fixed length as well as variable length data types. Following table lists down ABAP elementary data types. Keyword X denote byte field, keyword C text field, characters, keyword I which we have integer, keyword F floating point, keyword P peg number, and string is used to create text string data type. Some of the fields and numbers can be modified using one or more name as follows, like byte, numeric, character like. Let's see which data type takes what number of memory, minimum and maximum. X typical length of 1 byte, character by default in 1 character, N by default 1, and D by default 8 characters, means 1 date, T by default time 6 character, I 4 bytes, and F takes 8 bytes in minimum. P take 8 byte, string take variable, and X string also take variable, means it has no minimum or maximum length. It only based on your assigned value into this variable. Now let's try this example. Let's copy this in the real-time ABAP editor environment and let's see what it's doing here. So let's try this. Let's comment this code and paste this one here. First of all, we have declared a character type variable length 40 named text underscore line. Then we have assigned a value in it, a chapter on data types. Then we have passed this to write statement, so it will be right there. Then we have created another string, another data type of type string, and we have assigned a program in ABAP. Okay, after that we have just write this statement. This slash right here is denoting a new line, so this statement will be written in new line after that. Then we have written another date type data type with name d underscore date, and we have assigned its system sy datum, which means current system date will be assigned to it, and then we have write it in the new line. So in the output of this program we will have this line reading to this in new line and the today's date in another new line. That's right. See, a chapter on data types, a program in ABAP, and we have date. So this was how date is shown in ABAP, SAP ABAP. So the main difference between type C and type string data type, which I want to discuss here. As you can see, we have in our program, let's see, our type C length was 40, so it has assigned 40 characters, allocated 40 characters memory to this data type already in the memory. You can see this memory is wasted due to type C. This is all wasted. And the another one which was type string, it has only dynamically given him the memory of actual assigned data. So there is no wasted memory in string type. That's great. So this was the main thing I want to tell you guys. Okay, then we have another great concept of complex and reference types. The complex types are classified into structure types and table types. In the structure types, elementary types and structure are grouped together. You may consider only the grouping of elementary type, but you must be aware of the availability of nesting structure. Like you can create your own structure, you can create your own tables to hold dynamic data on runtime. Okay, when the elementary types are grouped together, the data item can be accessed as a group data item with the individual elementary type data item. The table types are better known as arrays in the programming languages. Arrays can be simple or structure array. In ABAP, array are called internal tables. Okay, you must remember this concept of internal table. Whenever you refer to an array, dynamic tables in SAP ABAP, it is known as internal tables. Consultant called it and refer it as internal tables. Let's try some example of internal tables. So what are the parameters and properties of internal table? They have line or row type. Row for internal table can be of elementary, complex, or reference type. Key, a specified field or group of key as a key of internal table that identifies the table row, just like primary key. Access method, describe how program access individual table entries. Okay, let's see. So this was just conceptualization of structures and internal tables. In next video we will do example of both of them and see how they works. Thank you for your patience. Hope you're enjoying our course for now. See you in next video. Till then, thank you. Hello class. Good evening. In this video we will see how to create internal tables, which are usually and normally represented as arrays in other programming languages, and then we will see how to populate data in them, and then how to fetch and display all the records in our internal table through loop and write statement. So in this video we will learn about loops, write statement, internal tables, populating internal tables, and displaying and fetching data from them. So let's start it. So I have recently I have created an example for you, and let's try from it. I have saved it somewhere here and maybe in Notepad. Let's see. So this was our example. So let me just copy paste it so it will save our time. So let me describe what is going on here. So first of all, we have created our structure known as types. With type command keyword you can create any kind of structure. So we have created a structure known as ty underscore student, or you can say is type underscore student. This structure holds our two columns. You can call it, this is an empty table and it has two columns, id of type n with length 5 and name of type c with length n. So this was basically our structure. Then we have used a reference of this structure and saved it in another, created another structure. You can say copy of this ty underscore student is now saved in GWA underscore student. GWA means work area of student. This was student type or structure, or we have copied that structure into this now. So now both holds same. Now GW underscore student and T underscore student both have these two columns in the structure. So now let's create internal table through this structure. Let's see how to do it. So this is the line, it create internal table. like you can see all it. We have created internal table with name IT, and we have referred it with this keyword command type table of t_student like this, and with header line. It means our internal table is now created, but for now it is empty. It has no data, but it can hold and save as many as records you put into it, and all those records will have ID or name. Now let's try inserting records in this internal table called IT. So let's. I have recently set 3 record in it. Let's try this. So what I will do now, I will use this structure as a uh, temporary structure to hold records, and then copy it to append it to our internal table. So for first student ID I have one and name John, and now appended this into my internal table. Again this time I have given 2 and Jim, and appended this values to my internal table, and third value is also appended into internal table. So for now what we have done, let me recap it for you. We have created an structure, okay, which holds ID and name, 2 values, and then we have created another temporary structure which basically its use is to store data temporarily before appending into original internal table. With this line we have created our internal table, and which is referring to our local data type called t_student. So our internal table is created through this line, and then we have inserted 3 records, appended them into our internal table. So let's try. For now, if we activate it, no errors, and process, it will show nothing because we haven't given any write statement yet, so there is no output. So now let's just try and output all these records through loop. So this is the loop syntax, loop at internal table, which is IT, and loop. In this loop, row by row, I will try to show all the records which are currently in our internal table. So write a statement and colon slash for new line. So IT dash AD comma internal table dash name. Stop. So basically what will this loop will do, at every record it will go into new line, and it will write ID and name until we have 0 records in our internal table. Now let's try to execute and see what happens next. So these are our records: 1 for John, 2 for Jim, 3 for Jack. Now let's try to remove this unwanted 0. No 0. Activate it. Sorry, I have used this no 0 with name. It has to be used with ID. Let's try now. Now you can see we have no extra zeros, but space is still occupied in memory. 1 for John, 2 for Jim, 3 for Jack. So this was an overview of internal tables in SAP ABAP, which is a very brilliant and very important concept. If you have mastered this concept of creating and manipulating with internal tables, you can do and create, develop any kind of report, and almost you can say you have mastered now 70 to 80% of ABAP program, because most of them have to most of the time you have to deal with loops and internal tables and all this kind of stuff. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed and liked this video. See you in next one. Goodbye. Hello class. In this video we will learn about ABAP loop control. So we have many kinds of loops available in SAP ABAP with different functionalities. So let's discuss them one by one, and we will also do their example, one lifetime example in real-time environment with SAP server. So let's start. There may be a situation when you need to execute a block of code several number of times. In general, statements are executed sequentially. The first statement of function is executed first, followed by second one, and so on. So a loop statement allows you to execute a statement group of statement multiple times and following the general form of the loop statement in most of the programming language. So we start from here and go to condition. If condition is true, we will again go back and this will the loop until condition is false and loop will break and we will go to exit statement. This is a normal workflow or flow chart you can say of loop. Let's see what we got in the back. We have while loop. Okay, repeat a statement group of statement when a given condition is true. Do loop. The do statement useful for repeating particular task a specific number of times. For example, you can try this with do 5 times. So that loop will go for 5 times. Nested loop. This is called a loop within a loop. You can maybe use another while or do loop in already main loop. When we have loop control statements, continue causes the loop to skip the remainder of its body and start the next loop pass. It will just skip the remainder of its body, like for example you can skip some line of code and again go back to starting of the loop. Check. If the condition is false, the remaining statement after a check are just ignored and the system starts the next loop pass. Exit terminates the loop entirely and transfer execution to the statement after the loop, immediately after the loop. Okay, let's discuss while loop. Our first loop today. A while loop statement repeatedly executes a large statement as long as a given condition is true. The general format for the while command is as follows: while, logical expression, statement block, and end while. Let's copy this and try to create our own while loop. This previously done examples, let's close them and comment them. Let's start with while loop. So this is a code. Let's give some logical expression. While is it true, it will be infinite. Let's try data a type I, assign a is equal to 5, while a greater than 1, write value of a line this and a to a minus 1 and decrement in the value of a. Let's see, no error. Let's execute. Okay, so this is a while loop. It started from 5, then 4, 3, 2. While a was greater than 1, so it means when the value of a was 2, it came within this loop, otherwise it didn't. So it came into this loop 4 times, 5, 4, 3, 2, and when the value of a was not greater than 1, it is equal to 1, so our loop just ended. This was an example of while loop. Let's see flow diagram. While, logical expression, statement block, and while condition is true, it will continue. If expression is false, it will just end. The while command is preferable while considering the performance of programs. The loop continues until the logical statement is found to be untrue and exit the loop if the false statement is found, as we have just done in our example. We have another example. Let's try this one. What does this do? Let's see. Remove this one. So what it will do? It is incrementing one for starting value of a 0, and every loop it is incrementing 1 in a, and also writing this is line number. While a not equal to a, this represent not equal, while a not equal to a, so it will come into this loop. Whenever a will become 8, the loop will exit. This is line 0, line 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and when the value of a become 8, it just exited from the loop. And that was quite simple. And now we have in the output. We have also seen this output in real-time environment. Now see do loop. This is an unconditional loop repeatedly executes several statements without specifying any condition. The do statement implements unconditional loop by executing set of statement blocks several times unconditionally. So do n times whatever you want and undo. There is a time imposes restriction on the number of loop passes, which is represented by n here like this. Value n should not be negative or 0. Okay, should be greater than 0, 1 to any integer number. Flow diagram. Do n times and do while the n times have not reached, it is continue. When it is reached, condition is false and loop is exited. Let's try an example of do. Now just comment this one. Do 15 times. Simple as that. It will write hello 15 times in new line. So these are 15 hello with do loop 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. So you can see the advantage between do loop and while loop. You don't have to declare any variable and then increment or decrement, and uses if condition with that variable if it is greater, equal to, or less than. So it is quite simple and very much useful, handy to use. In this example, the system automatically understands that the loop is to be processed 15 times. So let's see nested loops. So in this example, we have do loop and another do loop. Let's see live example of it. Let's copy this and then understand what it is doing here with us. Comment it. Paste it. So we have A1 type I, B1 type I. Both are 0. First of all, we are doing one loop 2 times. So A1 is incrementing and outer loop is declaring the value of A1. Next, within the first do loop, we are doing another do 10 times. It is incrementing B and type the value of B1. So output will be like outer 1, then inner 1 to 10, then outer 2, inner 1 to 10. Let's see. Outer 1, inner 1 to 10, outer 2, inner loop 11 to 20 because it is incrementing. So this was an example of our nested loop. Sorry, I was just having some water. Hope you don't mind. So this is the output which we have seen in the live SAP server. Do loop is processed twice. The outer loop and inner loop is processed 10 times. Each time the outer do loop is processed, so in the case the inner loop is processed 20 times. So this was all about loops, and next video we will learn about continue, exit and other statements which are very useful in these loops, and we will do some also live examples of them with our current SAP server. Thank you for your patience. See you in next video. Goodbye. Hello class. As promised, in this video we will learn about statements which are being used in our loops for different purpose. So let's start with ABAP continue statement. Continue statement used in a statement block of the loop to terminate a single loop pass immediately and unconditionally. As soon as the continue statement executed, the execution of the remaining statement in the current processing or code block is stopped and the next loop pass is processed. The syntax for the continue statement is simple. You have to write continue keyword leading to period. So what will the block diagram? Conditional code and whatever our condition, and if condition is true it will continue. Whenever continue will come, it will go again to condition bypassing all the code here. Okay, and then if condition is true, another loop, or if false, it will terminate. You can see continue is just bypassing all the central code and just going to condition again. It is like overhaul bridge, or you are just created a bridge to reach the endpoint. So let's try this example. Let me close this one for you. We will do 5 times. Whenever our loop do loop is have 5 iteration, on third iteration it will skip this line and again go to fourth iteration. So output will be 1 as index 1 2 4 5. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. Let's see. Yes, I'm right, perfectly fine. So we have just using the system keyword sy-index, which usually return the current iteration number. Iteration 1 fine, 2 fine. When iteration 3, we will use continue statement and it just skipped all the remaining code block. So that's why number 3 is not printed here, and we have then 4 and 5 normally. So that's great. This is a great example of continue statement. Let's move further. So we also have output here in this file. As discussed, continue statement has just ignores all the statement in the current processing block and proceed with the next loop pass. So ABAP check statement. Let's see what this one do. Check statement terminates a loop pass based on a condition. If the condition in the check statement is evaluated to false, then all the remaining statements in the statement block after a check statements are ignored and the next loop pass starts. Let's see. Its syntax is also simple. So let's copy paste this here. Do 5 times. Check index between 3 and 4. If index is 3 and 4, it will skip all the processing block. So between 3 and 4, between will be okay. Let's change it between 2 and 4. Let's do 2 and 4. See. So index is being checked between 2 and 4, and then it is coming to this processing block. See. So this condition is now dependent on our check statement. Whenever check statement is true, the remaining processor block will execute, else it will not execute it and go back to the starting of the loop. So let's try this, like give 6 and 10. As you can see, our loop is 5, so we will never have index of 6 and 10. Between 6 and 10 we can't get any SY index, and if we execute it, it won't give any output because our iteration are not coming into this range. Let's try 1 to 5. So it will print 5 times index, 1 to 5 will be the output. Yes, correct. Perfectly fine. So this was the check statement. Let's try now exit statement. It is used to terminate the loop and all the statement. Whenever exit is come, your process flow will come out of that loop. You can see exit is taking your loop out of the false condition and termination. Let's try some example of exit. Comment it. Whenever our index is 3, we will exit from the code. So output will be 1, 2. Yes. After 3, our loop is just terminated. So this was it for our today's lecture. In our upcoming lecture, we will learn about decisions, like ABAP decisions, how to take different decisions in our SAP ABAP programming and development environment. Till then, take care and thank you very much for your patience. Goodbye and good afternoon. In this video, we will learn how to create a package in SAP development environment, and also we will learn another very important concept of how to create transport requests. So transport request is basically used to transport the modification, changes, custom development, and whatever objects we are working on from development server to QA server, or from QA server to directly to our live production server. So these two concepts are very useful and most frequently used in SAP ABAP development. So this was about transport request and package, as we have discussed in previous videos as well. Package is mainly the, you can say, is like the file which have all the objects of customization and custom requirements and whatever reports we are working on, all go and save into that package which we have created. So these two concepts are very useful and very handy. So in this video we will learn both these concepts of how to create package in SAP ABAP and how to create transport requests. So let's start with creating a new package for our training purpose course. So let's go to this command field, and the transaction code for creating a new package is SE21. Press enter. So let's try creating a package with name Z training and click on this create button. It will ask for short description. Now we will click on this tick button or press enter to continue. So this is a screen. It is a prompt for transportable workbench request. Now it is asking us to put this package into some request for transport purpose. So it can be transport into near future into quality assurance application server, or maybe live production server. So we have multiple option here, like continue, cancel, on request, or create a new request. So if I click on this on request, it will show already created transport request. So we can also select any one from that list and assign our package into that transport request. Like you can see there, here multiple transport requests are available. So if you want to create a new transport request, click on this button. It will ask for short description of that transport request. So we can give any kind of short description here, like for training purpose transport request, and when we'll click on this button, it will create a new transport request and generate a number of it. But we already have one test request in our current development SAP application server. So for now I'm not going to create a new request, but I have shown you the way how you can create a new transport request. So I will select from already available on request and navigate down, and this is a test request already created, which is not to be transported, only for testing purpose. I will select this and press enter. So this screen will pop up here. It will have multiple, you can say, tabs available. Here is our package. It is showing the icon of package. There are no sub packages. We can also create sub packages within our main package, and then we save it. Already saved, and let's see what we can do here. Okay, so our package is now created with the name of Z training. In the future, if we are going to create some new database table, some new report, some new script or program, or any kind of customization, it can save into this package. It is very handy. We will see in near future how to analyze and navigate all the objects within the same package, and it is also very easy to find whatever work we are doing in that package. So it is good practice for programmers and developers to create their own package, and all their database tables, programs, reports, custom screens, and whatever work they are creating, classes, objects will be in that package. So our package is created. We can display it as well, and we will use in near future for our development purpose. We can save all the things which we are working on in this package. Let me show you another direct transaction code of creating transport request. If you want to create transport request before any kind of work, before starting any kind of development work, you can do it as well. There is TCODE SC09, press enter. This is transport organization organizer, and here is a button of F6, and you can say customizing request or bench request. And here the same screen which we found in the previous example, you can create and give short description of your transport request, and it will generate new number for your transport request, and it will be created for you in your SAP ERP system. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Looking forward for your feedback, and good luck for next video. Thank you. Hi class, good morning. Today we will discuss about ABAP data dictionary and learn how to create a database table in SAP. First of all, we will go to the navigation pane here and write the transaction code for ABAP data dictionary, which is SE11. You can see the screen ABAP dictionary initial screen. Through this screen we can create any type of custom database tables in our SAP system. Let's think about a scenario. Suppose we want to create a database table for students, which will store student ID, first name, last name, and student age. So we will go to this text area and enter the name of the table which we want to create. Suppose we want to name our custom database table Z student 1. Now click on create button. Here we will have to give short description of our table. Now we have to enter the delivery class. Here you can see we have multiple options available. So for this database table we will use master and transaction data delivery class A. We will select it and press the enter button. Now you can see it is asking about our table view maintenance authorization. So we have multiple options here. So we will change it into display/maintenance allowed, so we can change any kind in structure and data in the future in our table, which is Z student 1. Here you can say the attribute fields and the information it is giving to us. We have our 5 menu tabs here. This one is done. This is the main where we will enter all our fields of the database table which we are going to create. These are some additional fields of which we will learn in the near future. So here we will start creating the columns of our database table. One column which is very much mandatory in SAP ABAP database table is this field is called client, which is identified by SAP system, and it is mandatory for all the custom Z tables. And its data type is MANDT. We will press enter here and it will automatically pick its data type, data length and short description. Now here we will create our own columns. My first column name is ID. Second can be first name. Third can be last name. And fourth will be age. So now we have to give the data elements for all the columns. For ID we can take numeric 8, press enter. It will accept digit numeric value of field length 8. For first name we can set it character 25, press enter. Same will go for last name. We can copy and paste it here and press enter. For age we can say num2, so age can be from 0 to 99, not more than that. Okay, after that we will press the save button. You can use the shortcut Ctrl S. Just simply click this floppy disk icon. So here it will ask for package in which it is going to store all the database table which we have created just now, and this package will be used to transport data from development server to production. We will not go into further detail of this for now as how it is going to be created. So as we have already packages available in this system, we will use one of them like ZSJ, press enter. So here there are two things. If you are going to use this database table or whatever work you have done in used to transport is to your production server or QA server, you have to create new requests from here. So for this is just for learning purpose. We are not going to transport it into our production server. I will just select the test request which is already created here, so it will not be transported into our production server. Then I will press enter or this click button. Our newly created table, that is student 1, is now saved. To use it, further use it and to enter data in it, and to fetch data from it we have to activate it so it can be available in our system. Okay, when you activate the custom created database table, there is student one, you have to give here, it will ask you for data class and size category. In data class we will select here master data and transparent table option. In size category we have different sizes available for number of records which are going to be expected. This is just a test table. We will select 0 and press this active button and save it, and our database table is now created. Now let's just try to enter few rows, few records of student in this table and see how it will go. So you can see our table is activated without any kind of error. There just are warnings which doesn't matter that much. So here is a button of contents. Control Shift F10 is a shortcut key. If you click it, it will navigate you to the selection screen of this database table, which is used to filter data for displaying. As currently it is empty, we have no data. If we just execute it and press F8, it will say at the bottom left of your screen, no table entries found for a specified key. For this, we have to insert few records in this table. Let's try to insert it. So we will use the transaction C16 for creating entries in our database table. This is our table, that is student 1. Press F5 for use this button to create entries. Let's give it ID 1, first name, last name and age, and press save. This entry is now saved. Let's try creating another entry. Now as you can see, we have two entries in our database table. Now using our previous transaction of SE11, let's just try to see what we have got in our database transparent table, that is student 1. Just press F8 and you can see the two entries. ID 1, first name John, last name is Smith and age is 25. And ID 2, first name same John, last name Vic, age is 23. So here you can, how we can create, this was the process of creating custom database tables in our SAP ABAP. Thank you. Hello class, in this video we will learn about ABAP decisions. Decision making structures have one or more conditions to be evaluated or tested by the program, along with a statement or statements that are to be executed. If the condition is determined to be true, and optionally other statements to be executed if the condition is determined to be false. Let's see general flowchart of decision making structure. So if condition is true, it will go to the code written in the true block, or if condition is false, so our decision will be terminated. So ABAP programming language have these decision making statement: if statement, if else, nested if, and case control statement. So let's see them one by one and do one live example of each so it can be better understanding for you guys. So let's start with if statement. So it is same as if condition in other programming languages like C, C++, C Sharp or Java. So we have a block of code written inside if condition. It starts with if, and then we have some logical operation like comparison with some numeric operators or some string comparison, and ended with period. Then we have statements, and then we have uh, and if command. So let's try some example. This is same as the above, which we have discussed before, the flowchart of our if statement condition. So this is an example. Let's try and copy it and see what it's doing. So we have declared one data type with title underscore one name and length 20, and it is character type. And we have assigned this text into it, tutorials. And then we are doing a string comparison with if condition. So if title underscore one contain tutorial, it will write this is if statement and end if. Let's see, execute it. So its condition is true. It is printing our if statement. So let's try something different and see. So no output on direct processing because our condition is not getting passed and there is no code after end if condition. So let's try if else statement. It is same as if condition. It will just have an addition of else statement. And let's try this one. So it comes to else part of the code. This is else statement. Okay. So the flow diagram of this statement is also same as if condition. Okay. If condition is false, it will go to else code. If it is true, it will directly go to end if. We have already done our own example. Then this was the output. This is else statement. Now let's try if, else if and else statement. They're also very useful and handy in making decisions. So what it do, if it will go into if statement. If it is false, then go to else if and another else if, or maybe another else if, and all are false, then it will go to else if statement. Whichever one statement will be true, it will execute that code block and then go to end if. So let's try adding else if statement. See what. So no errors are found. Let's execute it. It came in else if statement. So this was else if, else if and else statement. Now let's try ABAP case control statement. The case control statement is used when you need to compare two or more fields. Syntax is as following. You have a case and then you check it for different strings like A, B, C, D, E, F, P, Q, R, and then the statement block. and end case statement on the end. These are the rules for case statement. No logical expression can be used for the field. Field string used in the case statement treated as type character variable. The statement block following a when clause is executed if the content of the field shown in the field is similar to one of the fields. Okay. After executing all the conditions specified in the when statement, the program continues to process the remaining statement after the end case statement. When another clause executed in a program and the value of the field doesn't match with any value specified in the ABC up to XYZ fields. If the when other clause is omitted and the value of the field doesn't match with any value specified in the ABC to XYZ field, the program continues to process the remaining statement after the end case statement. So this is flow diagram. It starts with field and then it compares it with different characters like ABC, PQ or XYZ. Each has its own code block and all code blocks are leading it to the termination, and by default we have another code block. So let's try some example. Let's copy this. So we have declared two data types, title 1 and title 2. One is 10 character length, second is 50. In one we have saved ABAP and in second we have programming. Now we have case on title 2. Okay. Let's do some indentation. So we have different cases here, and by default which case is others, which will write sorry mismatch. In our case in title 2 we have programming, so it will match this, and just this is the title will be written on the screen. Let's try. Yes, this is the title. Now if we just switch our case to title 1 variable or data type, you can say, and see, this is not the title which is written here. So this was all about ABAP decisions, and we have discussed so far if statement, if else statement, nested if statements and case statements. Thank you for watching this video. Hello class. In this video we will learn about ABAP strings, and we will also perform some live demonstration and examples of strings on SAP ABAP server. Strings are basically a sequence of characters. We use data type C variable for holding alphanumeric character with a minimum of 1 character and a maximum of 65,535 characters. By default these are aligned to the left. Let's see creating strings in our system. Let me copy this piece of code, write it here, and value hello. You can see it is printed. So in order to find the length of a string, we can use a function called strlen, string length statement. It will return the number of characters contained in the string. For example, let's try copying this. Let's replace this with. So we have one variable of character type with name title underscore 1 having value tutorial. Let's see how many characters are in this string. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then Here declare integer type another variable to which will save the returning number of characters in this string, and in the end we are showing and displaying that integer variable value. It should be 9. So here the length of the title is 9. So ABAP supports a wide range of statements that manipulate string like concatenate, condense, strlen. We have already used it. Replace, search. So concatenate makes two strings are joined to form a third string. In condense, this statement deletes the space, wide space characters from the string. strlen used to find the length of a field. Replace used to make replacement in characters. Search to run searches in character string. Shift is used to move the contents of a string left or right. You can use shift left or shift right. Then we have split, used to split the contents of a field into two or more fields. Let's try some example of above statements. So let me copy this. Instead of writing all this code, it's easy to copy and give demonstration. So these all are variables here. These all three are character variables. All of them are with different lengths. First three have values like tutorials and point and tutorial point limited. Now in first statement what we are doing, we are concatenating title 1 and 2 into destination 1, which is this. So it will be tutorial point. Then in concatenation example we are displaying that with the result. Okay, let's try concatenation and comment this. So it is concatenation tutorials point. Now we have done that concatenation again, but this time we have separated it by SCP. SCP is a one character length. By default any character type has one length and it is empty space. So this time concatenation will be with space. Here it is, much better now, much readability and simplify for user. Now let's try what they have done next. Let's try these lines here and comment this. So this is the title, space underscore title. We have used condense command here, which will remove white spaces and write it here. And we have again used condense command with no gaps. Let's see what will be the difference in both of them. Here condense command has condensed and removed all the spaces, but actually spaces are not removed between the words, which is good. These are called gaps, and when we use the keyword no gaps, it has also removed these gaps between different three words. So this is the note for you guys. In case of catenation, the SAP inserts a space between the fields. The condensed statement removes blank space between the fields but leaving only one character space. No gaps is an optional addition to the condensed statement that removes all spaces. So this was all about ABAP strings. In the next upcoming lecture, we will discuss some more ideas and concepts related to SAP ABAP development. Thank you for your feedback. Hello class. In this video, we will learn about exception handling in SAP ABAP. So as you know, exception is a problem that arises during the execution of a program. So when an exception occurs, the normal flow of the program is disrupted and the program application terminates abnormally, which is not recommended. Therefore, these exceptions are to be handled. Like other programming languages, we have try catch block in SAP ABAP. We have also raise exception, and we have also the keywords like you can see here: raise, try, catch, and cleanup. So let's see what is the generic syntax of try catch. So this is try and catch generic syntax in SAP ABAP. We have a try block, catch block. Catch block we have exception, then cleanup. Cleanup block is to restore consistent state, and then we have end try. So this is how try catch code will look in SAP ABAP. So let's talk about these keywords available in SAP try catch exceptions. Raise. Exception are raised to indicate that some exceptional situation has occurred. Usually an exception handler tries to repair the error or to find an alternative solution. Try. The try block contains the application coding whose exceptions are to be handled. This statement block is processed sequentially. It can contain further control structure and calls of procedure or other ABAP programs. It is followed by one or more catch blocks. Catch. A program catches an exception with an exception handler at the place in a program where you want to handle the problem. The catch keyword indicates the catching of an exception. Cleanup. The statements of the cleanup block are executed whenever an exception occurs in a try block that is not caught by the handler of the same try and try construct. Within the cleanup clause, the system can restore an object to a consistent state or release external resources. That is, cleanup work can be executed for the context of the try block. So these are the keywords which are being used in try catch exception handling in SAP ABAP. Let's try some real-time example with our SAP server. So let's take some good example here. So these are 5 attributes and method of exception. Text ID, previous, get underscore text, get underscore long text, get underscore source underscore position. So we will have some example here. Let's copy this and try in our system. This previous one. So we have one parameter or type integer, and we have 3 data types. One is type P decimal 2. This is referring to exception class CX underscore root. This is string type variable. The start of selection. We are getting input from user in this parameter, and we have taken its absolute condition. If number is greater than 150, raise exception. That demo abs cx underscore demo underscore abs underscore too large. The absolute number is too large. Then we have try catch code. We are taking a square root of the input number and writing down it there. Then we are dividing it by 1. And here is our exception. So here is an exception code which will, in case divided by 0, so it will raise an exception of 0 divide. So let's try. Errors. Try must conclude with end try. Okay. We have 2 try catch block here. So no errors now. Object is activated. Let's see the output. It is asking for number. Let me give a number 5 and execute it. Square root and division with 5. Result of square root 2.24. Result of division 0.20. Let's try number greater than 150. So as we saw there, exception is come. CX underscore demo underscore FBS underscore too large. The exception was raised but it wasn't caught. So this is how exceptions look in your program. This is detail, and it will also tell you about the line of code where exception occurs. That is referring to line number 25. We have raised exception there. If you click on it, it will take you to the code. So this was the exception which was raised. So let's try another thing. If we just comment this block code which is raising exception, then here we have divided by 0 thing. Let's see. Here we are catching the exception and handling it. So it will display us a message. Some kind of display. Yes. The result of division 0.01. Let's see. So it is catching the exception here. So let's do another thing here. So what this program is basically doing, it is taking input from user, which is a integer type, and in this variable we are displaying the result of square root, and here we are dividing that number with 1. For example, if in input we will give 0, it will write this here 0, and exception will raise here. In this variable it will store the output message of that exception. So let me write here that exception result so we can see what exception message is occurring. It can be visible to us. So if you divide by 0, 1 divided by 0, here is an exception message, division by 0. So this time program isn't terminated by itself and didn't give any kind of short dump, and it has just displayed the error message, and we have handled our exception very well. So this is how to do exception handling in SAP ABAP. Thank you for your feedback and patience.